So the first thing you're going to do is with your ball of yarn, you're going to find the end, the end of your string, the end of your yarn, and you're going to need to make a slip knot. So you're going to take the end and you're going to make a loop. So there's the loop, and you can see it. And then you're going to take the end that's attached to your yarn, and you're going to pull it through to make a slip knot. So you'll see I'm just making my slip knot. It's rather large at the moment, but I'm going to pull the end so I have a nice loop. So there you go. The reason why it's called a slip knot is because you can make that loop larger or you can make it smaller, and that's why it's called a slip knot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hook. Now I use, this is a 5.5 millimeter hook. I couldn't find my 5 millimeter. I usually use a 5 millimeter, but between 5 and 5.5 it's fine. You can use any size that way. So I'm going to put it into the loop to start crocheting. And as you'll note in my instructions, the first thing I have is you're going to need to chain stitch 4 chain stitches. So the way to do a chain stitch is with your hook through the loop, you're going to, and what I do to hold my string or my yarn is I wrap it around my pinky, and then I take it and wrap it around my first finger. And then I hold with my middle finger and my thumb, I hold the knot. So that's kind of how I hold my string. So I'll do that again so you can see it. And then I use my pinky to let more string out and sort of increase the tension to help me manage my string. So that's kind of what I do for the string part. So how to do your 4 chain stitches is I take my hook and I hold the knot and I grab the string and I pull it through that loop, that slip knot, or this loop of the slip knot that we created, and I have my first chain stitch. See the loop? There it is. That's my first chain stitch. So I'll do that again. So that's now my second one, third one, and fourth one. So that's how you do chain stitching, and I could keep going, and you could have as long as you want, but for our pattern we only need 4. So now the next thing I need to do is create a loop. So I'll show you on a finished bowl. This is what the bowls look like. And just so you kind of see, we start in the center. We'll create a loop, and then we'll stitch off of that and create the bowl, and so our end will be up here. So that's how we're going to start and how the bowl will look when we're done. Okay, so we've got our 4 chain stitches. So now I want to create that loop. So I'm going to find my first stitch and find the hole in that first stitch, and I'm going to put my crochet hook through it. So now I've got 2 loops on my hook, and I'm going to grab the yarn and pull through both of them, and that's called a slip stitch. And now I've joined in and I've made my loop with those 4 chain stitches. So I've got my base, so I'm ready to start my first row of crochet of the bowl. So to start, I do 3 chain stitches, which you guys know how to do now. So you do 3 chain stitches, and I have a new stitch to teach you. It's called a double crochet stitch. So the way to do that is, and I'm going to have to do 11 of them through this hole. So I'm going to go through the hole of the loop so that you'll find your the middle hole of the loop, and you'll stick your crochet hook through. You'll grab the yarn, and you'll have 2 loops now on your hook. Now the way to do the double crochet hook is I'm going to crochet the first one, the first loop first. So I'm going to grab some more yarn and pull it through that first loop. So now I have 2. So that's, I've crocheted it once. Now I'm going to crochet it double. So there we are. So that's why it's called the double crochet hook, because you crochet it twice. So I'll go now, I'm going to do 11 of these. So I've done 1. So I'm going to do another one. So I'll go through and grab my yarn again. So I've got the 2 loops. I'll crochet the first one once, and now I'll crochet the last 2, and that's my double crochet stitch. So I'll do this 11 times. I'm going to go faster. So again, you have your 2 loops, go through the first one once, and now go through again, and I finish off with just 1 loop. And you can kind of slide them and tighten them so you can fit your 11 stitches on this loop. here. And for this, because it's only 11, I tend to count it afterwards. So you'll notice, I'll count them to see where I'm at. So I've got my first chain of 3, that's this right here. Then I've got 1 stitch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I have 2 more stitches to go. 10, and the last one, 11. So now I've got my ring to start with, that's my first row, but I've got to join it together so it's cohesive and it's one loop. So I'm going to find that first, the set of 3 chains that I did, that's right there, and there's a hole right after it. So that's where I'm going to stick my hook and I'm going to grab some yarn and I'm going to do a slip stitch again. So I'm just going to go right through, and that's how you do a slip stitch. So now I'm going to start my second row. So the way to do that is I'm going to chain 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. So that's my chain of 3. That's like my first stitch, just to get me up to the place I need to start doing my double crochets. So now I'm going to do, because I need to increase the size, so that means I need to double crochet in each stitch. So I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to crochet, so I crocheted those 3 chains in this hole right here. I'm going to do another one. So I'm doubling I'm doing 2 stitches in every hole, in every stitch. So the next stitch, if you kind of pull it apart, you'll see that there's gaps in between your stitches. So that's where you want to put your hook. So I'm going to do 2 stitches in each of those gaps. So 2 double crochet, so that's 1 double crochet, and now I'm going to find that hole again where I just was. You see it's right there. And I'm going to do my second double crochet. So how this works is I did 11 plus that 3 chains, so that means there's 12 stitches on the first row. So because I'm doubling up every one of those, I'm going to end up with 24 stitches now on my second row. So I'll show you again. So see, there's the next stitch. I'm going to do 2 double crochets in there. So there's the first one, like we've been doing, and now the second one in that same hole. So I'm increasing my stitches and adding stitches in. So we'll do that again. 1, see, and now I'm going to go back into that hole. Oops, sorry, I'll start again. So I'm going to do it really slow motion for you so you can see how I do this. So I have to do 2 double crochet stitches in each stitch. So I'm going to take my hook and go into the stitch, and I'm going to grab my yarn, and I'm going to do my first crochet and my second to make my double crochet stitch. Now, so you can see that that's where I stitched in, so you can see that stitch is right sitting in there. I'm going to do my second one, so I'm going to go through, grab my yarn, and do my first crochet and my second crochet to make my second. See, now there's 2 stitches sitting in that hole, and that is my my second double crochet stitch. So I'm going to go around and do every single one of these the same way, is just do 2 double crochet stitches in each of these. So I've crocheted all of them, and now I'm on my last one, so I'll do those 2 double crochet stitches right into that last stitch. Now again, I need to join up to complete my row, so I need to slip stitch into those first 3 chain stitches I did. So I'm going to slip stitch, so I go in, grab, and I just slip right through. I don't crochet it at all, I just slip it right through, and now I can start my third row. So this one, so I'm going to do my 3 chain stitches again to start. I always do 3 chain stitches. And now I need to increase again my stitches, but not quite as much. So instead of doing 2 double crochets in every stitch, I'm going to do a single, and then a double. So I'll show you how that goes. So I single crochet into the first stitch. So, well, and I do it, it's a double crochet stitch, but I only do it once. And then in the next stitch, so you can see the next stitch is right here. I go in and I do my double crochet, which we've been doing. That's the only stitch we really are going to be using to make our rows, so you don't have to worry about learning another one. And now in the third one, I'm going to do 2. So I'm kind of still increasing my stitches, but not as much, not in every single one. So there's my 2. So now you can see there's a single, like a 1 stitch, 1 double crochet stitch, 1 double crochet stitch, and now this one has 2 double crochet stitches in it. So I'll just repeat that. So we'll do it 1, oops, I made a mistake. And if you make a mistake, the nice thing is that crochet is made up of loops, of slip knots, or slip knots really. So you just have to pull it out and it'll undo the stitch. So I'll do a single, because I've done a double, right? So I'll do a single, double crochet, and then I'll do one more single double crochet stitch, and now I need to do 2 in the next one. So there we go, and I keep doing that all the way around this row. So I'll do one more set for you. So that's a 1 double crochet stitch, 1 double crochet stitch, and then now I'll do 2 double crochet stitches. And I keep doing that around until I end up at the end again. Okay, so I've now crocheted the row and doing that pattern the whole time. So that's single double crochet hook, single double crochet hook, and then 2 double crochet stitches in each of the stitches. And I'm just going to finish up here. So I'll do the last double crochet stitch. Now I'm going to again finish my row, so I need to do that slip stitch. So here's the chain of 3, find that hole, and I do my slip stitch. So there we go. So now it gets really easy. Now I'm not increasing anymore. Now I'm just going to be doing 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch until I've done my 8 rows. So I've got 1 row, 2 row, 3 rows. So I'm starting my 4th row. So I'll do my chain of 3 again. And I'm going to just crochet 1 double crochet stitch in each stitch all the way along until I've done my 8 rows. So just as we've been doing, again, I will show you slowly. I'll go in, so there's the holes of my stitches, you can see them. So I'll go into this one, the next one. Slowly, I'll grab my string. I've got my 2 loops. I crochet the first one, and now I crochet and pull through both for my full double crochet stitch. And I just do that in only 1 in each stitch. So when you start your 4th row, things get really easy, and we just now boogie along and crochet 1 double crochet stitch in each all the way until you're done. So now I've gone through and I'm almost done my little bowl. So you can see it's taking shape. We're almost there. And you'll see that how many rows I've got. And the way I like to count my rows is I count kind of you'll see there's a bump and then the holes for the stitches. So I kind of count that. I count those holes. So that's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm on my 8th row. I'm just finishing it up, so I'll just do these last few. So I'm still double crocheting the way we've been doing the whole time. And I'll just show you how to wrap up the whole thing. So again, I need to slip stitch and close off that row. So I'll go into the chain of 3, those the chain of 3 stitches. I'll go and grab my yarn, do my slip stitch. Now this is really easy. The way I end off these bowls is I have my last loop and I just grab some yarn, pull it through, tighten that up, and I pull it, and then I will cut it. I'll cut the part that moves just so that, there we are, and then I will disengage it from the ball of yarn, and now I've finished my bowl. And you can have it look this way. I kind of like it this way. They seem to flare out a little bit, so I turn them inside out. And now all I have to do is weave in my ends. So I've got 2 ends, right? The one that you started with here and the one that you ended with here. So what I do is, just to make it really simple, I use my crochet hook and I just go into different little holes. So I'll stick my yarn or my hook through different little holes that are close, and I'll grab that tail and I'll pull it through. So I'm kind of sewing it, but I sew it with my my crochet hook just to make it simple. So I'll weave it through. I usually do the top rim of the bowl just to hide it so I don't have to tie it. I don't want knots because they get bulky. So I just kind of do that, and then I pull it so that it stretches, and then I take my scissors and I just trim that little tail. Can't see it. So that's one. And I do the same thing for my bottom tail. My bottom strings, I just go through and I kind of pull it, find it, grab it. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. And I weave it in. I try to find little, oops, I'll have to go from this way, sort of smaller holes, maybe not the large stitches, and I just kind of try to make it so that this one I'm not so strategic on where I go. I just randomly go anywhere and kind of pull it through so you can't see it. I pull it, stretch it just to make sure that it won't move once I'm done, and then I just trim it close. And there's my finished little bowl. So there you go. That's how you crochet the bowl. And if you have any questions or want to know how to do this, go to my website, odiareimer.com, and there's instructions there on the project, what I'm doing, and like the instructions for how to make the bowls in written form. And yeah, that's again odiareimer.com, so ODIAREIMER.com. Okay, great. Thanks so much, and I look forward to receiving your bowls.